So a few weeks ago, Daiwa introduced their latest true bait finesse reel, the ultra expensive Steez Air. Now, since the Steez Air is basically a Steez CT modified into a bait finesse reel, the price on this reel is sky high. In fact, the only other BFS reel that compares to the Steez Air in price is the long discontinued SHIMANO Cardiff DC. Now, when I checked the street price on CITICA, the Steez Air lists close to $600 in cost. Now, despite this high cost, I planned on getting one, and that was for two reasons. Now, of course, reason number one is that I'm a bait finesse junkie, and number two is the fact that the spool is advertised as being the smallest in the world at only 28 millimeters in diameter. Now, that's a whopping 4 millimeters smaller than the average bait finesse reel. So because of its small size and the fact that it's so heavily ported, I assumed that it would be much lighter than the current BFS casting champion, the GARCIA REVO LTX, which coincidentally also has the lightest stock spool at 6.3 grams. In fact, I was assuming that it would be even lighter than the Avail spool that I got from my ALDEBARAN BFS, which is only 4.2 grams, and I use this reel for casting trout magnets. And I was actually hoping to use the Steez Air as a replacement to my heavily modified ALDEBARAN for casting trout magnets. But then I saw this video here. Now, this video's been out for almost 2 weeks, and because of what I saw in this video, I decided to hold off on getting the Steez Air. Now, if you're wondering why, it's because despite the huge disparity in spool size versus Daiwa's own T3 Air, the spool hardly lost any weight. As you can see, the T3 Air spool is 6.8 grams, and this is without the bearing. And it looks like the Steez Air spool is 6.6 grams. So there's only a 0.2 gram loss of weight for losing a whopping 4 millimeters of spool material. So that means the REVO LTX still has the lightest stock BFS spool for right now. Now, this really disappointing spool weight for the Steez is only one problem. The second problem is that there's a spool on AliExpress that's been available for quite a long time now for the Steez CT called the RYOGA spool, and it weighs less than 5 grams total, and that's including the bearing. So without the bearing, this spool could be in the 3 gram range. So basically, that means you can buy a standard Steez CT or even an Alpha CT or a Millionaire CT, buy this RYOGA spool, and it'll cost less than the cost of a Steez Air, and it will undoubtedly be a better BFS reel for casting ultralight lures than the Steez Air. And you're still going to have that stock spool for versatility. So whoever the executive at Daiwa Japan that approved the Steez Air spool obviously is ignorant to what's going on in the bait finesse world. Now, I do think I know why the weight reduction of the Steez spool is so minimal. I was researching on Daiwa Japan's website, and it appears that the Steez Air spool actually may be approved for light braid. Now, that's only if Google Translate is accurate. Now, Daiwa adamantly stated not to use braid with their previous air spools because of the potential for deforming them. So maybe they machined this Steez Air spool with thicker walls to be able to cope with light braid. But since I don't use braid, this actually means nothing to me. So that means for now, Daiwa is not getting my $600, as this is completely unacceptable for a reel this expensive that will more than likely be outperformed by much less expensive reels. But I'm going to hold off final judgment until the Steez Air is officially for sale, and I see some review videos from the Japanese YouTubers where they actually weigh the spool without a bearing. But until then, no Steez Air for me. Also, be on the lookout for my full video on what Shimano Japan released at the Japanese fishing shows. That's coming up in a few days. Okay guys, thanks a lot.